We laugh. We laugh. We are live, gentlemen. Welcome, welcome. It's been, I don't know, a week. um, welcome. I think this is going to be a very good stream, a very productive stream, mostly because of the subject in question. We, gentlemen, are going to rewrite Call of Duty Ghosts campaign. Let me tell you, it's not looking good. Not looking good as many of you would say, but hey, we are going to do our best to actually do it, because we have to actually do it. We have to showcase that this is a campaign that needs work. I think it had so much promise on. Let's put it this way. Let me get. I was so sold on the game. Here it is. Here's the fucking box of the Prestige Edition that came with a paracord that it's lost somewhere. It came with the ghost camera. I bought it. I had the hard casing. God damn it. I was so sold on that. Sorry. Press something that I should. But hey, I was so sold on it that I thought, yeah, we're gonna have a good game. I started playing the campaign. It's like, okay. I think by my third playthrough, I understood what they were going for, but looking at the bigger picture, it was like, nah, man, no, it won't fly. Yes, the KM Strike and Snoop Dogg. I actually prefer Arlie Ermy, but oh man, all right. So for those who don't remember, the campaign of Call of Duty Ghosts, we're gonna have a brief description of it, and we're going to have we're going to see why it doesn't work. But first, a brief history for those who don't remember it or don't want to or didn't play it. Here it goes. The story of the Ghost starts with an operation: 60 Tier 1 operators against 500 enemy soldiers. Those 60 operators were cut to 15, and from those 15, that defeated 499, because they said that the last one just went away and was wandering in the desert. And then he started telling about ghost soldiers, and that's where the ghost thing came. And then you jump right into the guy that explained the whole story of how the ghosts were made to his two kids. And then what happens is, as they're going home, he's like, "Oh, it's Odin. What is Odin?" Jump flashback of 20 minutes early. There's an. I need to. How can I forget? Odin COD Ghosts. Yes, thank you. Orbital Defense Initiative satellite that actually sends in tungsten rods and it's order to have a weapon against the Federation. But who the fuck is the Federation? Why does it exist? Later on. So the Federation takes to take Odin. It's Odin is sabotaged in order for it not to fall into enemy hands. It is destroyed, but it destroyed a few cities, mainly in the east and west coast. That's it. And then you're 10 years later, you're a member of a recon group in the army. I'm not sure if it is the army. I don't know which branch it is. You're just in the military. It's never specified on what. Regardless, they tell you through very short cutscenes with this aesthetic of, I don't know. I don't know how to call it, but the aesthetic was actually good of those types of cutscenes. But I think what it lacked the most was the story, and we're gonna discuss it. But let's finish the brief explanation of the campaign. So you go on patrol. You meet the ghost. The ghosts tell you to help them rescue one of their own. You arrive. He dies in their arms. Sniff, sniff. Yeah, sniff, sniff. Because you never knew who the guy was. There was no emotional connection. And the brief explanation of why the ghosts are so reverent is like, I can get a better explanation at the same time about Delta Force, Army Rangers, Green Berets, and Navy SEALs. Anyway, moving forward. So you go back on, I think it's Santa Monica port, so I'm thinking Los Angeles. You defend the Federation attack. The Federation overwhelms you, and then you're recruited by the ghosts because your dad was one, and then you start doing missions with it. Then you find out Rourke, when you go and capture Rourke, that was an ex-ghost that was captured and brainwashed. How it's like, I understand they break him, but come on, man. If you survive a suicide mission, if you actually survive a suicide mission, how can you end up being brainwashed? If you know that you're getting brainwashed, most of those elite soldiers would take two routes: try to escape or kill themselves in order for them not to be used against their own country or their own friends. So I know it's harsh, but I mean, come on. And then Rourke gets captured, but it was all planned because they wanted get all ghosts reunited in order for them to kill them all and have a good shot of taking out the U.S. military. It's like, okay, but then where's the Army Rangers? Where's the Navy SEALs? Green Berets? Delta? Don't tell me that all of them is just 60 tier 1 operators. I mean, come on. Then after you escape, you try to do three. You try because they're not stealth missions. The one that is the diving one, that actually was like a stealth mission. But after that one, there's no true stealth mission. Not even the infiltration to the facility over there in the mountains. So it's there's no stealth in there. Then when you go back home, you get captured in Las Vegas. I don't know why you would have a base in Vegas, but I guess they wanted an excuse to go to a casino. You get captured by Rourke. Rourke kills your dad. They win Riley. Then there's a rescue part. Then there's an all-out mission in Chile to actually kill the Federation satellites in her. Well, communication with the satellites in order for them to actually have the new Odins uh, on their side in order to destroy the Federation army. But still, it was like, why? And then you defeat Rourke in the train chase sequence. And then at the end, when you see the Federation Navy getting destroyed, it's like you turn around, oh, there's Rourke. How did he survive a fucking 44 Magnum? Who cares? It's just plot. So as you can see, I was trying to explain the story, but it's not viable. Yes, no name. Whereas all of them in this story is like they disappeared somehow. Somehow they were wiped out, and only the ghosts are the ones that are elite. Come on. So, first things first. Let's explain why is it not possible the Federation to exist. First of all, we have the European Union. Union, in between quotes, because not only Brexit just signified what the United Kingdom was to the European Union. It was just someone to help Germany carry the burden of many countries in their economy in order for the euro to have more value. Many countries, after seeing the disaster that was, and it still is, the European Union, not only in regards to the economy, but also on political boundaries and political relations. Even though socially, culturally, they exchange and they still remain the same, but there's still some rough spots, very rough spots within the social and cultural classes in Europe. It's a total mess. So many countries don't want to create that one. It was actually proposed in studying history. It was actually proposed on the early 20th century, not the European Union, but yeah, it lasted long, but it had a different relation. It was different at that time. There was conflicting ideologies, no name, that were going out about in a bigger scale. But there was a proposal of unifying whole America, or at least Canada, United States, Mexico, and the northern countries of South America, in order to form the American coin, like like the euro is, but it was going to be called Americoin or something like that. The USSR was this close to greatness. Yeah, it would have been the laughing joke of history. 69. But hey, man, they didn't want to become a fucking meme before the meme thing was a thing. So Central America wanted to unify, but in the end, it's a political mess that the countries are by themselves. They don't rely on each other for their economy. Same with South America when they tried it, like in the 80s, like late 70s, all the way until the late 80s, going early 90s, that they were trying to centralize them, like unify themselves in order for them to actually push it. Our sex number, come run. Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one. No, but they couldn't. It's mostly because not of political things, more so social cultural rifts that they have against each other. For example, it's not the same like Argentina Brazil relationships. Politically, they're one thing, but socially and culturally, because they hold the standard of not only soccer as them being great, but also on other things like food, literature, some festivities, it's very hard. Even it's very hard. It's very hard. And even it was proposed, even though it's there's a organization for Latin America in general that includes Mexico and downwards. It's not. It doesn't help. It's like the UN. Like it's there, but nobody listens to it. Nobody helps each other. NATO is more so a pact between Western countries, but it was to stop the USSR. So even the UN was actually formed to police the USSR. It wasn't more so to create peace and then therefore have unity in the world. And like no, it was just more so created as an organization to actually have something to go against the USSR and not Russia. Because if you pay attention, Russia only changed their names of the things. Instead of being communist or Soviet, they just changed the name to Russian Republic. And many of the establishments that they had, they just had a change of name, but they worked the same. So, so much for change in a way, because even though it's a federation, uh, it's run like if it was the old days. But going back to the campaign of Call of Duty Ghosts, it's not possible. South America and Central America countries won't unite under one banner unless a survival thing happens. But the thing about what they say that the Federation happened, like the great oil deserts, Afghanistan, Kuwait, and nobody's going to destroy the whole oil because they know that destroying the whole oil countries, Saudi Arabia also is within that mix, that would involve terrorist acts. So I don't think that's going to happen. I mean, Hussein that invaded Kuwait in '91 set to flame the oil, the oil, the oil extractions that Kuwait had, and it didn't debilitate Kuwait's production of oil at all. It was like turn it off or just cut the supply and that's it. But still, even though they were set ablaze, they didn't miss a heartbeat. They still had a lot of oil. What's the difference between the Five Eyes and NATO? I don't know. I don't know. That's a joke. I don't know. So, starting with that, the loss of the oil countries, that won't happen. That won't happen. They're not going to allow it. Western countries, I think, first world countries are not going to allow it because they have military presence. Even though the United States has large military presence, but there's private companies that won't allow it because they depend on it. Second of all, the federation creation is not possible. It's zero. There's no unity. They have an organization, and it's not. So, the Five Eyes is actually intelligence alliance comprising Australia, Canada, New Zealand, and United Kingdom, and the United States. Yeah, but they don't do anything. Yeah, that sounds like they don't do anything. No name. It all runs through the U.S. You want spies? That's the UK. Canada is just politeness. New Zealand and what is it? New Zealand and Australia. I don't know. Kangaroos? Uh, Black widows? Um, But yeah, that's the second thing. The Federation cannot exist. There's no unity amongst South American countries like that, unless it's against the against the U.S. But they know that the whole economy of the world depends on Wall Street, because even though it was going to be transferred to the euro, but who has the major military power at the end of World War II? United States. Russia, no. Russia had just numbers of soldiers, but they were not war armed. So too many stands. Yeah. What's it? Too many stands. It's more so to signify unity, and more so like oh, we're unified because we're English speaking countries. That's the only thing. It's more like a smokescreen of who runs who runs shit in the world. So, sorry. Um, Going back, if you look at it just on those two stands, the ghosts are not the thing that creates the federation. The whole dilemma. It's not possible. More so over the mission that they describe about the ghosts being created. I'm sorry, but that doesn't become a legend. That's a too big of a mission. You're sending 60 tier 1 operators to defend a hospital from 500 soldiers. After that event, that is actually televised. That's actually a breaking news to any news network in the world, because it actually says that tier 1 operators had to defend a hospital of civilians against an army. You can point out that it could be the Islamic State right now, but that it makes headlines. And the surviving ones, even though they were kept, the names would be kept secret, you would still, um, have headlines, and it wouldn't become a legend. Only the names of the members would become a legend. But in the end, everybody would in the special operations community would know, because they were the surviving ones. And after that, you don't create the ghosts. You can actually propose the creation of a task force or a regiment. Like Delta Force was proposed in the late 70s. Afghanistan, Kazakhstan, Pakistan, Uzbekistan, Kyrgyzstan. Ah, you forget the fictional one, Urzikstan. You're letting Farah and Hadir out. Just kidding. Um, but yeah, it would be such a headline because it would boost what the United States would have been doing at the time. That would be peace, uh, saving the country. You can put it. Let's make it. I don't know, Syria. 60 tier 1 operators against the 500 Islamic soldiers defending, and they were cut to 15, and they save a fucking hospital, and they becomes breaking news. A whole big hospital is safe from the Islamic State, and only surviving 15 soldiers. There it is. There's no legend as what's the name of the cut? I know it's Walker, but Elias Walker. Yeah, sorry, just remember Elias Walker. That is the dad. That Elias is telling. Oh, so the legend goes like, come on, man, that's a headline, and everybody would. Maybe the enemies were Italian, so they won. Dude, Italy. For studying history in my major, Italy is a joke as a military thing. Literally, look at before it was a country, it was still a kingdom, and to be unified, it had to ask help from England and France, and after that, it became a country. And both world wars. It had to ask for help to England and France. In the first one, to actually push the Austro-Hungary Empire back, and in the second one, Mussolini had to ask Hitler's help in order to push back the United States. And then it's a fucking mess. Italy is not a powerhouse in world wars. Sure, no, Messi slaughtered them like shit. Yeah, almost, but it's not. I mean, I understand the training of the Lagunari that they're shown in the Modern Warfare, but that's mostly based on Navy SEALs and on Green Berets. So that's just the special forces, but they're trained by American special forces. So it's like invade Greece now for the Italy. Nah. But anyways. Yeah, I know. Going back though, the whole thing doesn't work. The creation of Odin can actually happen, but in order to go to that, I think I'm not thinking of the Federation. I'm thinking more of a private company, a private security company that actually wants that. Or if the US is actually creating that against, I don't know, let's say Russia is growing its military power. I mean, we have reports that they're trying to modernize everything. But, I mean, Italy has joined the war. Oh, man. Italy. What are we going to do with Italy? You only had one job. One job, Italy. Not to mess it up. No, they actually had not to mess it up. But that's what happens. Especially when you have the Vatican. That's a topic for another thing. All right. How do we fix this? How do we actually fix this campaign? Let's actually rewrite this. Because I had trouble rewriting this shit a lot. This is my third attempt. I actually had 2 attempts on rewriting the campaign. When COD Ghosts was actually introduced, and it's going to be 4 years going in July that I actually rewrite this. So Italy lost to fucking Ethiopia, dude. I know. No, you know what's actually hilarious? The small island of Corsair, the birthplace of Napoleon, actually held on the invading Italian forces. It had to be Hitler's parachute division that had to actually invade those islands in order for them to pass them on to Italy. That's how fucking pathetic they were. Yes, they lost to the. They have. Let me put it this way. I think they have the same number of L's as the Cleveland Browns before Baker Mayfield. Or as the same number of L's as the New York Jets after Joe Namath. You're like, holy shit. Can you not? And I'm talking not only World War II, I'm talking their whole fucking history. Because if you remember, if you played Battlefield 1, you had the mission where you're in Italian and they call the Arditi. The Arditi was actually like special forces for the Italians to create in order for them to push, but they didn't push back. They just they just took they just stalled the line. That was it. But the losses of soldiers were still the same. They just held the line. Every country that has invaded Poland has took an L ever, except two: Nazi Germany at the start and Stalin's Russia. Those are the only two. After that, yes, they took L's, but that wasn't because Poland fought back. It was because other countries just messed in. Yes, but eventually, yeah, I know. Okay, let's start from the from the top. Well, not the top. Let's start from the fucking bottom. COD Ghosts. How do you create a Delta Force like regiment? I think, or if you want like a platoon or it's like how there has to be a need. Remember that the United States, in creating its own uh, divisions, regiments, it has to come out of a need. They have Delta Force, they have Green Berets, they have Navy SEALs to actually do what the Ghosts do. So it has to come out of a need to actually create a group like them, but called Ghosts. Something has to happen in order for them to create it, unless it's a combination of all three, and you handpick. It's like I grab a few Delta, I grab a few Green Berets, I grab a few Navy SEALs, but from SEAL Team 6, not from the other teams, because remember that Team 6 is actually the elite within the Navy SEALs. So they're just like group. Yeah, like the Microsoft and back in Nam. Out of a necessity, they had to be created. So what can you do that would actually create the Ghosts? Has to be an operation. Going back on how Elias Walker was explaining the legend of the 15 operators that eventually became the Ghost operators. You can actually make it so that there was not so much in Iraq, but I think you can make it in Syria. That Yeah, in Syria, because if U.S. troops are finding Crimea, Ukraine is going to be taken as an invasion of Russian territory by Putin, and war could scale up. So I think in Syria would be the safest one. Let's say that in Syria there's a big hospital where there's wounded from bombardments of Russian, an official branch of the military. Maybe, but you have to create it out of necessity, remember. So what you can actually do, hear me out, no name, is that there's a big hospital in Syria that has a shit ton of civilians because of bombardments and use of gases, chemical gases. And so you send, because you cannot send your full in army, what you can actually send in order for them to have like a defense is like a small group, like a small task force, like you say. But instead of being called Ghosts, let's say, let's put it a name, Task Force Savior. So you send a small group of Delta, Green Berets, Navy SEALs, and you can put in, the Army Rangers. What is this, World War One? Remember that the president of Syria is using chemical gases against his own population, and it's actually a crime against war, dictating the Geneva Convention. So Marsoc, yeah, you can even add the Marsoc in order for them to actually withhold and secure the hospital as they attend the injured civilians, and because you can say ISIL is coming with stolen Syrian artillery and all that, but in secret they're actually being funded by the Syrian government. You can actually put it. I know it's fictitious, but come on, what Call of Duty ain't fictitious? Because even the Black Ops ones, who cares? America does war crimes all the time. Um, ISIS and Al Qaeda. Actually, they don't work together. They have, even though they're Islamic terrorists, both of them, but their points of views are so different that it has been documented by special forces that they don't work together. They have different goals. They're so far apart that that they don't work together, even if they have a common enemy. They hate each other more than anything. They hate each other even more than Merc. Let's put it this way. And that's something. That tells you a lot. Because most of the terrorist groups that hate the United States of America, some of them work together in order to get revenge against America. But these two, nah, they prefer to shoot each other than to fight against America. That's how different they are in point of views. So it's like tossing a fucking penny between two Jews. That's the joke I'm referring to. I know it's a cruel, but it's a joke. Uh, but yeah, maybe thanks to that they could introduce Alcatala and Ghosts, like you combine Modern Warfare and Ghosts. The problem is they have to that Traitor fucked it up. Remember, because they said that Cold War was a continuation of Black Ops One, but it was a prequel to Modern Warfare 2019, and then that was a continuation in Black Ops 2. And I told Ink Slasher, and he confirmed it um, in Sergeant Stream that they fucked up. They have to rewrite the whole Black Ops 2 thing. So because the technological gap is so huge, we're not gonna reach that type of technology in 2025. That's it. So going back to, we can put it in the way that they have to defend this hospital, and they're stationed there, and then they start hearing reports that the Islamic State is going to do a massive push because all forces are concentrated there. So there's going to be a lot of fronts. So you have your task force savior, that's the name that we just put it on, and they have to defend this hospital. Kinda no name, but no. If you pay attention to some of them, it's they're slightly modified in order to adjust to the story. So, but going back, so they have to hold on there, and you can say instead of 3 days, let's put it in like a week because you have the Army Rangers. The Army Rangers and Marksoft can have air support, either Apaches, gun runs from the Warhawks, artillery strikes all around the city. Um, what you can actually do, and that would be fucking awesome. Instead of telling, make it a mission. Let me open Word. Let me. All right, it's open. Let's put it this way. Notifications. Oh my god, notifications. Oh, all right, let's go. All right. So they have to hell. 8 10s in modern are disappointing. I know, but they didn't even do the brrr correctly. I think they were in training camp, and that's why the bird didn't wasn't correct. Remember, there are different training rounds that are not the same as the ammunition that they really use. So maybe that's why the bird is so different. But I would actually prefer more so the gun run that you had in COD Ghosts in that bridge instead of just like directing. It's like no, like you put it in and then you have the gun run and you shoot missiles. You shoot just four and that's it. It's like one pass and one pass only, or make it two passes, but you two missiles and then two missiles with the other with like a second pass. But whatever. Or what I would do instead of missiles is like you pass and you drop no, it's not a three. Yeah, a bomb. It's like a cluster bomb over there, and that's it. Just to eradicate all survivors of the brrr. Okay, but going back, let's put it that Task Force Savior comprised of Delta, SEALs, Marksaw, um, let's say Rangers. Other SEALs, Rangers, Green Berets. They hold on to a, oh, yeah, they hold a big hospital in Syria that houses a lot of, no, that is overwhelmed by civilian, let's put it, casualties and injuries. Because we got to remember, there's, even though you take them to a couple of FBI and CIA, I could actually think about it, but you know what? I think I think that could work, but more so not so that they actually help you in battle, more so to actually document everything of a war crime in order for the war crime tribunal to actually take hold to the president. You can actually even change the name of the fucking Syrian president because if you take the real one, he can actually sue Activision and anything. But yeah, you're right. And a couple of CIA and FBI agents. They hold a big hospital in Syria that is overwhelmed by civilian casualties and injured. Yep. Task Force Savior. Let's put it like that because and there's let's it's a big city. They have a lot of casualties. The government cannot send help. The white helmets are overwhelmed rescuing people, and they don't have the facilities. So they have to. It's like the U.S. sends this huge task force to the hospital in order for them to like help in general, like the injuries and everything, and they start like a small evacuation. But then yeah, we can actually write that they held they hold. Can we put it? They hold the hospitals here by over and injured. They start because they start a small evac of small evacuation of none. No. There's a fucking couple of. I think they would come, but they would come later. Let me tell you. One sec, VRV. Let me tell you why. But let me just finish putting this one. This is a small evacuation of minor injured civilians on the place. To a nearby fob. In order to alleviate yeah. Name. No name. Alright. So what we have established right now that I have written down is Task Force Savior, comprised of Delta, SEALs, Marksoft, Rangers, Green Berets, and a couple of CIA and FBI agents. They hold a big hospital in Syria that is overwhelmed by civilian casualties and injured. Remember, casualties, it's like dead people, so. And injured is like injured people. Uh, they. Uh, they start a small evacuation of minor or non-injured civilians to a nearby FOB in order to alleviate the hospital of newly injured civilians from the Islamic State attacks. Ah, you're back. Nice. All right, so we have it now. We have established that they are in a hospital, that this group of special operations soldiers are holding down the fort in a big hospital in Syria, and they're starting the small evacuation of minor or non-injured civilians to an FOB in order for them to have Task Force Savior fights alongside the police. Alongside the police? You know what Ice Cube would say about the police? Nah, man. Here's the thing with third world country police. Many of them that serve are not corrupt. Many of them serve, but they don't have the tools and they don't know what to do sometimes. Lack of training, lack of funding. I imagine that the police in Syria is trying to do as best as they can to actually save civilians from all of that shit. Shuni! I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're here. My respects to the police that are actually doing their job, regardless of their country. But yeah, lack of training, lack of funding, lack of pay can actually turn a good cop into a bad cop. So Go figure that out. Hey, Shuni. We're starting to rewrite the campaign because I had to explain the lame campaign of Ghosts. All right, Shuni. So you can. I got mac and cheese. Yeah, that's a good combination. All right, Shuni. Since you got here it comes. This is another human. Yes, needs to rewrite. So we just have the basis of the how the ghosts are created. We created Task Force Savior, that is comprised of Delta, SEALs, MARSOC, Rangers, Green Berets, a couple of CIA and FBI agents, and a big hospital in Syria, defending it from the Islamic State in order for them to evacuate non-injured or minor injured civilians from the attacks on the city, and actually helping the medics in that big hospital attend the ones that are severely injured or like intermediately injured. And they have to hold down the fort in order for them to actually just evacuate everybody in the city, because even though the city is not overrun, but it's mostly destroyed. So even though if they stay over there, they have nowhere to hide if the Islamic States attack the city again. And so that's what we have right now. As a rewrite as to how the ghosts are, and this is going to be a playable mission. This is going to be a playable mission because imagine actually holding down the fort against the Islamic State, like a real world enemy put in a fictitious world in this way would actually make sense in order for you to actually engage on why the ghosts are created. Because if you put a character, let's say Elias is a lieutenant, Elias Walker, that is one of the main characters of the original COD Ghosts. If you're in his shoes, staying in that hospital, seeing all the casualties, all the severely injured civilians, all the doctors rushing to help and take this patient to the operating room, and families and you see kids and all that, you are engaged, that you're saying, oh well, this task force is here to help the evacuation of civilians. And then they start attacking. It's like the Islamic State starts attacking in certain positions. You go there and you defend, either by sniping, using an assault rifle, going outside on patrol to actually find civilians. And when you come back with some of them, your attack and like that. And then you can say, for 3 days we held our position. We went out, like after that mission, you said, with their mix and Sukhoi. The Islamic State doesn't have air power. They have the launchers, but they don't have the air power. But what you can actually...
Yeah, bye.
Oh, shit. Yes, I'm standing by. But what you can actually do is, with that, you can actually engage the player. You actually engage the person, even though it's not playing. But if he watches the campaign on YouTube, it's like, oh my god, I'm engaged. I want to play this game. And then they go and play it because they won their version. Then after that first mission, you say, well, for 3 days, we held our position, but we started to get overrun because more ISIS forces are coming into the city. Or a soldier on the front lines. No, it has to be an existing character that's going to be in Ghosts. I think that would be more so on multiplayer, but but we're going to touch on that later on because I want COD Ghosts has so much fucking potential. But I understand what you mean, no name. But what I'm referring to is that you go into a sniper position and you start sniping. Real life history. um. So yeah, and then here's the thing, and that night mission, because I'm thinking, um, let's actually add what I just say. You are Elias Walker. You know, Elias Walker as a lieutenant, as an LT, as fucking British are like lieutenant, or like left tenant. Okay, I understand the joke, but as an LT, helping with the evacuation of the civilians in that city. You go out and patrol because you can actually create a level from that. You know, it would make sense to actually have a level on the desert. So, and with ruins and everything, it would make sense instead of what we got a gas station, like a little district in Vegas that was like, and then there was another sand level, I think, another multiplayer map that it was like in sand and didn't fit anything. So you gotta understand that multiplayer levels are based on the campaign, and if you create this levels that don't fit the campaign, then what is the purpose of that map if it doesn't fit the campaign? Um, Everybody remember Stonehaven. Why Stonehaven? Uh, uh, you could be a flex soldier, so at one point you're sniping. Actually, you can actually make the mission on that you are sniping. Like you go on patrol on the city and you have a sniper rifle with you or a marksman, and then you just have your assault rifle with you. So you stand in a point like watching and patrolling, and then like you go down, and instead of using your DMR, you can actually have your AR on you. So uh, it's what I'm just we're setting the base. We can actually make them more complex down the line, like the mission structure. I'm just stating what we have to do, like more so an open field. But yeah, I understand your point. So you go out on patrol, you rescue civilians that are trapped in rubble. You um, ISIL ISIL attacks, ambushes you, and you fend them off and rush back towards the hospital. That's the end of the first mission. We can actually structure it where yes, it's like a marksman part, and then you can make it like Piccadilly mission from one and be scanning for terrorists. Yeah, but remember this is rubble. It will be more so like um I'm trying to remember this Call of Duty. And you go into ruins and make the scouting longer. Kinda. But what you can actually do is like go into a rendezvous point, like a point of where you see like most civilians arriving, just to get into the hospital and everything, and ISIL ambushes you, and you take them from the distance, and then when you are clear or you hear people, on rubble. You go out and help them, but they or some of your no, some of your guys go and help them, and then you stay sniping. Uh, she gets out of the rubble, kinda, but more so. I think what you can actually do is that you go out of the hospital after seeing what you've seen and seeing a Black Hawk like live with civilians and going out. Uh, you go out in a Humvee and you go to a point, and it's like uh, you arrive to a certain point, and then you start like seeing kids on pointing to you that, or a father pointing to you that there's people inside the rubble, and then you just like point out your gun, like I was like, oh please help, and then they go and it's like there's kids, and when you rescue them, it's there's no those like you start patrolling for more, and it's like yes, there's more people over here and everything, but you go careful, and then once you go and find the rest of the people that are in the house, uh, by going back because their transport is fuel, your truck is fuel is full. In a way, you get ambushed, and you have to fend them off. As on that, what I'm proposing is that you can say for 3 days we stand our ground, and then we were sent at night, and oh, we can actually make that one. Your sniping mission can actually be a night one. Night mission of patrol, of sniping patrol in the rally point for civvies, and then you haul ass back to the hospital because you started to see a great mass of ISIL forces heading towards the hospital. Like they wanted to have a, because they're injured. Maybe once you get the people outside, you're escorting them to a hospital. But yes, you're escorting them out of the hospital. Remember, it's a rally point for civilians. What do you think, Shuni? Tell me your opinion, Shuni. And then you can have after that one, you actually have a scenario where you can actually go on patrol, on night patrol, on the rally point for civilians, and just stand guard there. And you start to snipe people, but because there's a great amount of force, you haul back ass to the hospital, and then you start seeing like, hey, you arrive and it's like the one in command over there. You can point out that Rourke is in command. You can put Rourke as a Green Beret, and say, hey, it's like it's like pissed off because their night support, well, yeah, their air support is not going to be available. Maybe they could be a night mission in Apache Longbow. Much more detail. Yeah, I know, but it's like that. You have to create the ghost out of a necessity, and if you actually make it like this, you would actually have a much more engaging story. Finishing the night mission was like you arrive and Rourke is here. It comes. The AC-130. Hear me out. Rourke is the one in command of the task force, like the field command of the whole thing. And then he hears there's a massive force of ISIL coming your way. We're gonna ready air support, but we don't know how long it's gonna take. So they have to fend them off during a whole day, and you could say that they can handle it, but because it's almost like the whole ISIL army coming towards them, and they have very few stations, and they depend on air support. That's why they can hold them off. You see what I'm getting at? So you have a third mission of the ghost story. And because of it, you actually see that they started to attack through mortars, sniping, small arms fire, and in order to actually make it hurt, this is gonna be a tough one. In order to actually make it hurt, you're going to have to witness something that I'm not in favor of. But it must be done in order for you to actually uh, get engaged on the story. Maybe the ghosts do the dirty work and just barely fend them off until air support. No, remember, ghosts are not created. They're going to be created after this incident. What you actually do is because they're starting to fire you. The mission starts of you evacuating a whole family into a Black Hawk that is filled with other people. And once it started rising, you just hear RPG. Boom. Chopper goes down. I know it would be like, what the fuck? But we got to remember, this is sadly in the real world. If an evacuation like that happens, it's going to make headlines, yes. But it's almost like remembering you from Black Hawk Down. You need the drama. Yes, nice. Yeah, you need the drama. So you watch and then you're like, motherfucker. So you turn in and start shooting. And then Rourke like slaps you, like, get your ass on the line. Go up to the roof and yeah, it's real life consequences. Exactly, Shuni. So Rourke slaps you and tells you to go on the roof in order for you to snipe those RPGs. In order to seize the seals on sniping. Because there's overwhelming force, so you need that. And then mortar started hitting the hospital, and you're like, the hell, where's the air support? And then, yes, you can have the AC-130. So you have the segment of you piloting the AC-130. Giving the coordinates on where they are, and then it's like it transfers you to the AC-130. It's like boom, and you start shooting. And even though you're up above, it's like because they have to arm themselves very quickly. You have to actually it's like you have, let's put like a good 2 minutes of you using the AC-130, even though it's brief, but they explain it to you like we have very low fuel and ammunition. We have to go and refuel. Air support will be available in 5 minutes. That they're telling you in 5 minutes, but then it's like we can't arrive. I can't arrive because the whole thing is like you need to hold the line until we can. It's going to be up in the morning. So let's actually put that one. Night mission of sniping will hold back because it says here arrive and are told by Rourke. Put it in between parentheses. The field commander of the operation, that a massive ISO force is headed your way. It's headed your way, and you have to hold the fort until morning for air support. No, for full air support. And the start of the third mission is when you see that Black Hawk go down. Start by evacuating a family into a... Man, poor Blackhawks. RPG. God damn it, Angry Joe. Then it gets shut down by an RPG. You shoot towards nothing. In anger. And Rourke. Oh, it's with the fucking... I forgot. It's with the fucking W. Rourke. Loves you and tells you go to the rooftop and snipe those bastards. You do that, and then an AC-130 times in for 2 minutes. Let's put it 2 minutes to give you air support. And then it fades to black. Yeah. Yeah. See, we're starting to make sense of how the ghosts are being made. And we have 3 missions that you can play as pre-ghost. RPG. I can hear it now. Yeah, but it would act, just look at it. It would actually make sense because you get engaged. You get engaged in the plot on why are they formed and why they live what they live. It makes you whole into the campaign. And that at night is like, oh, and after the support of the AC-130, it's like, oh, things calm down, but they're going to regroup. It's like, it's like, how many we have lost? It's like, you have lost, like, I don't know, let's put it, they lost like 5 soldiers. Let's put it this way, they lost 5 soldiers. And it's like, well, we need to hold down the fort until morning, and that's in a few hours, and they're going to regroup. So, what are we going to do? Because they have to do something. So, I need your thoughts on it. It's like, what could actually be the culmination that they say ghosts have to be created? Like, you need something to put in fear. Because air support is not going to come, and the evacuation of the civilians in those hospitals are not going to happen because of a strong ISO force. in the area because the RPG shut down on Black Hawk. Civilian lives were lost. So, come on, guys, come on. Rainstorm, Ramirez, go snipe those bastards on top of Burger Town. Oh man, if we actually get a Ramirez on Modern Warfare 2, that would be awesome. Can you imagine? Oh man, or if we get a Sergeant Foley. Ramirez, making use of sentiment. Ooh. Ramirez. Oh, that would actually be hilarious if we get it. I was just thinking of Ramirez. Ramirez. No, I was watching the other day a video of what Sergeant Foley yells at him, and there was like, Ramirez, stuck is no incoming. Use your knife to stop it. Oh, that was so. Oh, the man. Ramirez, end the war. Ramirez, we're out of toilet paper. Use your hands to clean my ass. Charged with manslaughter, yeah. Good. Alright. Ramirez. Do Ramirez. Yeah. I think what we can actually do after the AC-130 mission is actually one thing. And that would be the mission that would actually help. And I'm thinking about 3 characters discussing this. Rourke, the field commander. Elias as a Navy SEAL. God damn it. What are you? Merrick. Captain Thomas Merrick, an Army Ranger. We can put Merrick as a fucking Army Ranger. There. We can put Keegan as a Green Beret. There. But he's masked because, well, even though we can see barely his face, but we can put him masked. Just because of the dust, or I don't know. You could just so that when you beat the campaign on realism, you get Ramirez. A Ramirez cheat so that when someone gives you an order, they always shout it. Yeah, and call you Ramirez. Oh man, that would be awesome. But I don't think so. I don't think they're gonna do that one. If I was actually allowed to create myself as an operator, my signature execution would be awesome. Because I would grab you by the collar with my U.S. Army Bowie knife. The U.S. Army, the U.S. Army Marine Corps. Well, it's not a Bowie knife, but they have a serrated knife that is very big and it's very cool. I would grab you by the collar. I would on your lower back where it's exposed. Boom. Turn you around and stab you on the face. That would be awesome, ain't it? Swiss knife. No, if they actually put a Swiss operator in one of the Modern Warfare games, instead of a normal combat knife, they should actually take out a small Swiss Army knife and just. I mean, it's Swiss. It's a Swiss knife, like you said, no name. All right. Back to the campaign quickly. Because we need to. We need to actually. Well, it's not actually finished, but we can actually make this in small parts. That's the reason that I'm saying this stream is going to be a little bit longer than usual, because of the thing. This is Swiss cheese. um, because there's a lot of stuff that we can actually chime in and create the whole campaign for Ghosts. So what we can actually do is that Rourke, the field commander. Yeah, I know it's gruesome, but hey, it's awesome. Rourke, the field commander. Merrick, the Army Ranger leader. Elias, the Navy SEAL. Keegan, the Green Beret. You can put Ajax as a Mark Saw. Hello, Thomas. You Irish. You Irish. I hope I say it correctly. You Irish. If not, whatever. My attempt of being Irish. So you actually have 5 of the ghosts that you actually encounter discussing on what to do, because there's not going to be air support until morning. So they actually discuss on taking a small group of operators, like them 5, going in the city and attacking the Islamic State force, like taking the fight out of the hospital. And if you actually do that, it would actually mean that a small task force was agreed to send forth in order to hold on the attack, so they can cut down the numbers until air support comes in order to evacuate the rest of the civilians, because they just witnessed a Black Hawk filled with civilians go down before their eyes. So the question is, how many operators? How many operators do we put in that mission? 60? It's almost like getting naked, like living in the hospital naked of forces. So come on. Give me a number. A close to realistic number. 3 to the party. Because you gotta remember, there's gotta have like, why do RPGs hate Blackhawks? I don't know, man. I don't know. That's a good question. That's a good question. Mark Merrick, Army Ranger leader. Keegan, we said that was Green Beret. We said that Ajax is Marksoff. We said that Elias is Navy SEAL. Oh, wait, what the fuck happened? Elias, Navy SEAL. Elias, Ranger, Green Beret, Marksoff. Oh yeah, because we can make Rourke, even though the field commander, he's Delta. Yep, RPG magnets. I don't know. We can ask the 160 SOAR why RPGs hate Blackhawks. Anyway, they discussed taking the fight. within the city, outside of reach of the hospital. The question is how many? How many we send outside besides them five? If we send like the 15, that would explain why there's only them five as the ghosts, and they start to recruit people. Yes, because they plan to get outside of the hospital and draw fire towards them in order for the hospital to actually uh, not be attacked during those few hours until morning. This is Halo now, outside of reach. Nah, this ain't Halo, man. Can you imagine what would Sarge be in Halo? That would be a real question. A Spartan, an ODST, just a regular foot marine. I think what I'm thinking, Halo Ghosts. Nah, man. No, but taking them outside of, like taking the fight um, in another place, like out of the hospital. Like you send troops to attack a certain point, and all ISIL know that there's troops over there, and they can exterminate them and actually help. Like in Somalia, if they kill them within the city, they would, uh, showcase their bodies as trophies and everything. Sarge would be Johnson. I think he would be a second Johnson, but that would be to the new Master Chief. So the question is how many? If we send 15, it would explain why we only see 5 of them in the campaign. And that would actually explain a lot. And it would actually explain why they're so hardened, why they had to hide within the city and start killing with enemy guns and with their knives. Do you agree that we send 15? All right, 15. They all go out with 10 more soldiers. They'll go with more soldiers, 10 more soldiers into the city to draw fire away from the hospital. And then you can actually have the excuse of having NVG gameplay. You want to hear a joke? Shoot. They all go. They use NVGs. Kill ISIL forces that are scattered around the city, and they fire back towards a small motel. Because that would make sense, because then you have them and they want to actually take this instead of going to the hospital, because they know the hospital has been like a fortress. But if they take this small, they know that they won't have enough soldiers to defend at morning. So that would actually make. What is the name of the deceased only pedophiles can get? I got no fucking clue. All right, so going back, then you have what? We have a fourth mission. We have a fourth mission within the story explanation of how the ghosts are created. You see what you do when you actually sit down and analyze how good it can be. And so COVID-15 because 19 is too old for them. Nice. Oh. Anyway, you have a fourth mission. So you and 10 more and so the five main characters of Ghosts of the Ghost team, um, with other 10 special forces soldiers, go inside the city and attack in three groups of five the scattered ISO forces. They draw them to a nearby small motel in order for them to actually hold the line there, in order to divert fire from the hospital, in order for the hospital to get ready for a major evacuation, because that's their purpose. They go inside, they entrench themselves in this small motel, and they contact the hospital and say, "Get ready as many civilians as you can for a great evacuation. We're just throwing them fire over here. Like at morning, you all like evacuate as many as you can, uh, because they're coming." And what we can actually do, we should rewrite Black Ops 3, but a series sequel. Yeah, but that's for another time. Right now, we're doing Ghosts. And for that Black Ops 3, we need James. We need James in here in order to actually brainstorm the ideas of what we can do. Um, Shuni, why you leaving? Why you leaving me? We won't reboot Black Ops 3. No, we can actually make a Black Ops 3, but not that futuristic. Not that way ahead. No. But we can actually rewrite it as a I don't know. It's Black Ops 3 created a fucking mess on the Black Ops story, and then Black Ops 4 tried to be Black Ops 2.5, but it failed. So Tringo Moon cannot be replaced. Well, you know what, No Name? You know what? Black Ops 3 Go Boom. Anyway, going back. So you have go to small phone, zero fire, and tell the hospital to get as many civilians ready for a massive evacuation. So now we're going to start. Everybody would mean no more train go boom. And do you can actually take out the train and actually make something different. I don't know. Factory goes boom because it houses Nova 6 or something like that. Or a train full of Nova 6. You can actually say that. Train go boom. Yes, it's going to be better. But now that you're entrenched in this small hotel drawing fire away from the hospital, you have now your fifth mission. Fifth! A fifth mission explaining how the ghosts are created. Nova 7. You have a fifth mission in which you are engaged on the story and the creation of ghosts. Don't tell me that this is not engaging. This is very engaging because it's telling you how they were created, how they were forged. It's like Modern Warfare 2019. We saw the creation of Task Force 141. Why Farah's in it? Why Garrick is in it? Why Alex? We didn't see Ghosts, but he says we need a task force in order to stop Sakaev, in order to stop this thing of Nova 6 spreading or Sakaev reigning free with Alcatela. So I need a task force, I need free reign, I need my operators. And this is just a stepping stone. So now you're in your 5th mission. And what do? You hold the 5th mission involves you holding down the 4th, either by you choosing to snipe, LMG, assault rifle, because you're housing U-15, and then you start to get cut down, so you have to scavenge weapons from them. Yeah, but the Federation, remember, it's not going to be possible. Like the one that Ghost said, it's not possible. What you can actually say is that there's a private military company called the Federation. That's what you can actually say, because remember that private security companies are becoming very rich very fast because it's a necessity right now. Because of what happened on 9/11, it has increased exponentially and it brings a lot of money. So you can actually make that the Federation is a private security corporation. Yes, there's always two sides of the coin. But instead of making like a congregation of nations, it's a private security company, the Federation. But we're gonna get that on later. Right now, we're explaining the 5th mission on how the ghosts are created. Because remember, the United States military creates units out of necessity, not out of luxury. And so, the 5th mission is holding that motel. That's when private companies are booming. Yeah, but right now we're taking this as a not as a parallel universe that they're joint, but more so it's like another one of the real life. But it's not Modern Warfare Black Ops. It's not OG Modern Warfare nor Black Ops. It's just Ghost line. Business is booming. I know. Business should be booming. Right after this pandemic, it's gonna boom even more. Trust me. So your 5th mission in this game is gonna be holding down that hotel, that motel, that small motel, and you're gonna witness soldiers losing their lives and you running out of ammo and going and grabbing their weapons in order for you to defend. Either DMRs, assault rifles, LMGs, SMGs. And then once you is like, dude, we run out of ammo. Hey, Shuni, I was just explaining that the 5th mission is you holding down that motel and witnessing all the other 10 soldiers that you have dying, and you running out of ammo, and you're running to grab their weapons and using them against the ISIL forces that are attacking you with everything. And when you run out of ammo, they come in swarming in, and you have to use your knife and everything. Like you use your knife, you scavenge their weapons, you start shooting with them. It becomes a shit show. except you're defending instead of invading. But kind of, but it's more like an Alamo situation. They hold down that place, and then what actually ends up happening is, hear me out because this is going to be interesting. Because instead of being just two factions, let's add a third one and then possibly a fourth. Because they notified the hospital, one of the second in command on, well, the one that is in charge in that moment of the hospital says, fuck it, we're going in and save these motherfuckers. I know, but it would make you engage. That's what I'm getting at. If you remember, what mission was it? Um, what mission was it? Modern Warfare 2. I think it was when you evacuate Washington D.C. And then when you have to retake the White House and everything, it's like you're seeing bodies and everything of your fallen comrades. Uh, Another one that you can actually kind of relate to that is the Modern Warfare 1 ending, where you're on the bridge and almost like you have to hold down the fort and grab whatever you have. So it would be, yes, it would be brutal, but it would make you see why the ghosts are formed and how they are what they are. And so what I was explaining is that if you, it's like after you run out of ammo and they start getting inside the motel and you're starting to use your knife to defend yourself and grabbing their weapons and shooting back at the ISIL forces. Not much. I'm just explaining why they're holding down the fort. So then what happens is the one that was in command at the moment in the hospital says, fuck it, we're going to rescue these motherfuckers. So he grabs, let's say, one truck, two Humvees, and they rush into the city, and then they arrive to this is like they arrive to the motel with fire, like, and the minigun, and it's like get inside. So it's like get inside. We're holding them down, and he has like small, I don't know. Let's say it's a two Humvees, and then they get out the soldiers. So it's five per Humvee. It's like 10. Um, and they start helping to carry the bodies. Like you, as Elias, start to help carrying in the bodies in that truck. It's like, all right, help me take it. It's like we're in the truck, all of us, with their weapons out of ammo, but still with their weapons, and then they just rush back out, back into the hospital, and it's like say psych right now, almost like, but the decision I'll be in real time in 2 minutes. Okay, but that would make it so that the third faction that is introduced is because of that happening. It's like that guy said, "Fuck it, I'm going in and I'm going for my buddies. I'm not gonna let them die." Almost like a Black Hawk situation. So you just storm and save them and take the dead bodies like there, and then you go in rushing, and Rourke is pissed at the guy and it's like, "Sir, I'm not letting you die." So it was more so like saving their lives just to fulfill their mission. So the more when ISIL starts attacking in the morning, they have or more so you can explain that one in a cutscene that Rourke is pissed at this guy because he went in and saved them instead of, but he said no. And you can make this guy an army ranger because if you read the Ranger Creed, no one is left behind. Even if their mission is to hold down the fort, no one is left behind, dead or alive. So that would actually explain the third one. How is it? How this third red? How this third group within the Call of Duty Ghost actually works? Yeah, yeah, yeah. But you would have games like, oh, and instead of being a cutscene, it's actually or a quick time event. You actually knife and then grab weapons and everything until these guys storm in. And even though at the end Rourke is they're safe and Rourke is pissed at this guy, but this guy says no one is left behind, sir. Not even for the mission. So that would actually, yeah, that would be difficult as a World War mission. But it would actually make it so much more like, holy shit, I'm out of ammo and I'm using a knife to them. You brought a knife to a gunfight. Almost like that would actually make sense. So this guy is this Rourke is pissed at this guy. This guy says no one is left behind, sir, not even for the mission. And it's like, oh, I understand it. And it's like civilians are ready to be evacuated. We're just waiting for our support in the morning. And that whole thing is a fucking cutscene. And how every civilian is evacuated, either Blackhawk or Chinook. And it's like mission is done here, and you see at air support, Warhawks, Apaches doing like Warhawks doing gun runs, Apaches patrolling the area, AC-130s like, and then it's like you see what can we put it? You see Elias seeing a kid grabbing like a baklava mask, and it's like, oh, what is that? And it's like, it's just a mask that they had, but it had like because of the sand, it looks like the COD Ghost mask, like partially, like deteriorated. As a Canadian, if you bring a knife to a gunfight, then I would bring two guns, one for you and one for me. Yay, Canadians! And then you can actually put in the forces that you said no name. Like they're in the FOB and they're going to now relieve this task force savior. And then on the debrief in the cutscene, it's like after you can actually make it like another cutscene entering the let's say stage 2 of the game. Why as like in a cutscene, it's like after that, the 5 surviving members were commended by, and they created the Ghosts. They created the Ghosts task force. How do they call it? Task force what? Because they have a name for it. Where are you? Where are you? to the wiki. Yay! Ghost has an actual name. Odin Strike, the Ghosts. Task Force Stalker. They create Task Force Stalker people. And by creating Task Force Stalker, what does it mean? I should make my own Discord. The war zone. Maybe the next mission you're now entering the war zone. Nah. After that, you create Task Force Stalker. What does Task Force Stalker? Oh, wait. We have to actually write it down, because if we don't write it down, then what the hell are we doing? Get as many civilians. Hold down the small motel. You witness the 10 other operators die, and when you run out of ammo, you grab their weapons and use them against ISIL, and when you run dry of every weapon in your surrounding, they start to come in. No pun intended. They start to come in, and you use your knife to defend yourself against them. Grab their weapons to use them against them. And then a small convoy of 2 Humvees and 1 truck loader arrives to the rescue. You put in the truck fallen odds, and then you haul ass to the hospital. Rourke. Oh, the Humvees. Rourke is angry at the Army Ranger that saved his ass. But he tells Rourke no one is left behind. There we go. And then what you can make of it, I don't think ISIL is this strong. So what about during the years ISIL becomes stronger? Actually, it has been you can actually say that, but we can actually put in the campaign, but we have to actually. I would actually have to investigate a little bit more. Would be, what if the Syrian government secretly is supplying ISIL? And if it does, it would explain why they have this amount of force, because it was discovered that ISIL had some tanks of the Syrian military. So, I mean, and they're Russian tanks. They're not American tanks. They're Russian tanks. Even though they're Soviet era tanks, but still. So after that, morning arrives. The evacuation starts, and Elias finds Hava with a semi painted skull on it. And takes it to the FOB where ATF, SASR, which are the other forces? 115-minute stream because zombies music. Yeah, because of zombie music. I can hear Elena Sigmund right now. Poggers. I actually like that song 115. She should have Elena Sigmund should have just stayed doing heavy metal music because I understood that she wanted to make country music, but if everybody knows you, if everybody knows you because of the metal songs of zombies, you just stick with that. Nobody's going to chime in your into your country music, and not because they don't like country music, but because they wanted you to actually perform metal music, the songs of zombies. I think that's why her career in country music never went upwards. It was just like one album, and even though she has good songs, but everybody else I think was just expecting that she was singing, yeah, and do country in her personal time. Do a fucking form a metal band, Permission of Treyarch, grab like COD Zombies featuring Elena Sigmund, and all the songs, Ava Cadaver, The One, Beauty of Annihilation, 115, the many more that she has done. Hmm. Yeah, but this story, we're actually going to put a date on it. It's going to be 2025. Paradolia. Yeah, that's another song of hers. So, to relieve task force savior of their operations in Syria. Okay, now that we have 5 missions in this Call of Duty Ghosts campaign establishing why they exist, what do you guys think is the necessity for the ghost to exist? Is it to actually take enemies behind enemy lines like Delta? You know, have a smaller group. Fun fact. What fun fact? Even if it's just 40 years. The Odin thing is actually something in real life. Yeah, I know. It's called the Thor system. It was actually planned during the 80s. It was a concept late 70s, early 80s that the U.S. military was actually looking forward to, even with NASA. But um, I think they didn't have the technology to actually maintain it in space. More so because of the thing, but it can actually be possible thanks to SpaceX to actually refuel the rods and the satellites. But anyway, what is the purpose of the Ghost? Because we have Delta that can actually make the stealth missions. We have Green Berets and SEALs. But the purpose of Ghost is almost like those three. There will be a fourth one, but this one would be actually out of a necessity of actually going into very suicidal missions, as you can actually say. Thanks to lawyers, it's not considered a war crime, so it could become a thing in real life. Yeah, yeah, I can actually see that one. Having Odin satellites, so I wouldn't be surprised. It's even though it's all theoretical, but it has been proven through simulations that a node in satellite can actually generate much more damage than a nuclear missile right now. And you can actually destroy cities without radiation. So it's actually far more effective, yes. But it's something that. Mm. Anyways, the necessity for ghosts to be created, Task Force Stalker, can actually be like a separate Delta Force. So we can actually put this once they are back to once they're back home and the news of what happened in those, let's put 2 weeks on what happened in those 2 weeks was broadcast. The DoD decides to create Task Force Stalker, aka the Ghosts, without revealing the members of it. Yes, I am making a better story than a triple A. But you got to consider this. I think they had very good ideas, but I think they didn't have the time to actually sit down and analyze them. I don't know. I mean, they can hire me and I can actually grant them the rights of this. So they can actually call me in. And it's like, we want you to actually write. They didn't give a shit to pay anybody. Dude, this is my stream. This is my ideas. I'm streaming it and I'm making a copyright on it. So if they actually want to take this and rewrite Ghost or make another Call of Duty on it, no, they can't. This is my copyright on it. My ideas, and I'm storming them with you. So let's go back. Let's go back on this. So they go back home. The DoD, the Department of Defense, sees the necessity to create another force. So these 5 surviving members are Task Force Stalker, and they have the mission to actually recruit Any from Delta, Green Berets, from all of the members of, well, all the regiments like SEALs, Army, Rangers, Delta, Marksaw, um, to actually recruit them to Task Force Stalker. That would be the Ghost. That would be a necessity. But in order for them to actually work, because they were saved by this small group of the same comprised soldiers, but just different, that disobeyed orders on rescuing these five members of Ghosts, we're going to generate a new task force that will be like almost like working parallel with them. Like you have the silent assassins, and you have the heavy hitters working like joint operations, but different. What's the Awfully Irish podcast? Who is it? Is it Tom or is it Gerard? Identify yourself, YouTuber. Oh man. And yeah, you're right. No name. I'm writing a better story than them. Um. All right. So my proposal for this third faction, yeah, because they rather, I think it's more 2 hours and it feels more complete. Yeah. So my proportion of the name of this third faction that is going to be in multiplayer, I'm going to call it Task Force Hunter, aka Wolfpack. Can I smoke it? What's the crack? So, do you agree on this, on the name of this third faction? It's going to be called Wolfpack, but it's going to be uh, Task Force Hunter. So it's comprised of the same members, but just these are heavy hitters. They're like we chime in, like, oh, here's the target, like a pet Warhawk gun runs, Apaches storming in and just blasting, or SE-130s, and then soldiers surviving. Ta 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 ta. Everyone is dead, and we capture the leader or capture the information. You know, um, kind of what like wasn't particularly like Somalia 92, 93, where Task Force Ranger. Ranger were the heavy hitters that just arrive and provide the heavy arsenal uh, against the militia, while Delta Force storms in silently to capture their targets. It would be like that, but just more so guided to very sensitive zones that there's you can only go in with no tax. You know, like you don't have your flag insignia or that or your serial numbers. It's like you go in all black. That's the Ghost, almost like a private military company, but it's all secret. So it would actually make more sense in that way to have like kind of black ops task forces. Maybe could be like the spies, sneaky stuff, and task force warpath are the heavy hitters. Yeah, almost like that. But they would have like no tags, so they don't have their patches, no patches of flag or that they're in this regiment. what I'm actually proposing is that they have it, but they don't have it on their uniform per se, like showcasing. Um, what would be a good one? Let me see. I think I have it here. There's a photograph of. I'm going to show it to you guys. Let me just find it. It's one that I liked of this wolf things. Mhm. There we go. Um, I don't know if you can see it, but here, like this is the insignia for the wolf pack. I don't know if you guys like it. If you do, let me know. Um, that, but like, um, I'm thinking like a little patch here in the front, not so much on the sides, and it's near in. For the wolf pack, and same with the ghosts. They instead of them having patches, is their masks. So that would actually signify that they're ghosts. Oh no, it's happening again. What? What is happening again? No, 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 it's not for you. Anyways, that's how to create. I'm starting to speak Russian again. Do not speak Russian again. All right, just hold on a sec. I need to attend this real quick. But yeah, um, discuss in the comments. Do you like the idea so far? I'll be back in. Give me 2 All right, I'm back. So now that we have 5 missions, you have at this point 3 factions: ISIL, Ghosts, and Wolfpack. That is a new one, and you have the distinction of both of them. Like Ghosts, the signature is their mask. The Wolfpack is their emblem. Wyvern, there are just like a patch over here in the front. It's you have there your COD Ghosts, and then you have like a faction that you can actually create like scythe missions if you want to with them, but more so it's like you understand why the wolf pack is there. And so we have now the ones that rescue them become Task Force Hunter, aka Wolfpack. You have 5 missions. You have introduced your main characters and the ones that you can say support, most likely. But it would actually means many of the things that the ghosts actually do and have the heavy hitters with them. So we're in 2 hours. You guys want a second part, or you want to continue 1 more hour? Well, actually, until it's 3 hours. A second part. Come on, I'm waiting. I'm waiting. What do you say? What do you say? I would love to continue, but I might have to do stuff. All right, Shuni. What do you say? No name. A second part. All right. So let me save this because this is going to be important. You're rewriting COD Ghosts. Let me change it. Ghost Wolfpack. There we go. It is now safe. We have now created 5. Remember, we have created 5 missions explaining the origins of how the ghosts are created. They're all 5 missions that are playable and give you in-depth of characters. So we're going to do a part 2. And instead of waiting a whole week in order for us to actually do this part 2, I'm suggesting you guys, do you want it Friday at 2 p.m. or Saturday at 2 p.m.? I'm giving you the option because we have created something better. Okay, Shuni says Friday. What do you say, no name? Saturday. There's a dispute. Oh my god. 2 p.m. sounds awesome. Shuni, what do you think Saturday, 2 p.m.? I can do Saturday. Okay. So I'm gonna end this one. I'm gonna post the video schedule for Saturday at 2 p.m. So, like you said, No Name, we have created something better than a AAA studio. They should pay me. They should actually pay me for this campaign. And actually, but anyway, thank you all for coming. Part 2 of rewriting this campaign. Saturday at 2 p.m. Saturday at 2 p.m. I'm gonna post it on the Discords, and as Sarge says, thank you all for coming. Manuel out. Leader of Task Force Hunter, aka the Wolfpack. Bye, guys.